Hello everybody and welcome back to Random Vids. It's been a little bit since I talked about one of my favorite shows that I just recently started watching this year. And of course that show is called Total Drama. So there is a total of 6 Total Drama seasons along with the Redonkulous Race and the brand new one in 2023 that I have not seen yet because it ain't on Netflix yet or on YouTube anywhere that I can watch full episodes. Anyway, that's besides the point. My favorite season of all time was Total Drama World Tour. And man, that season had so much to do in it. You gotta love all the characters and all the developments they went through, the places they visit, the a la Heather moments are hilarious and awesome. But of course, one of my favorite things about Total Drama World Tour was the music. Man, a musical season? What? I was not expecting this. And it was so funny seeing all your favorite Total Drama characters singing these songs. Some of them are kind of like. Some of them really like. Are. Some of them really sound like actual songs. And others are like completely brand new and made up. Others are really good, and I enjoyed a lot of them, and I love listening to them all the time. Others are kind of bland, and I don't really like them that much. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to rank all, 31 of the songs. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get on to the ranking. Number 31, and my personal least favorite song from Total Drama World Tour is Baby. So this is a song that our lovable character Harold sings, and it's a song about Lashana, and I guess the way that he saw Lashana flirting with Alejandro, I guess, or it's just a filler song to I guess make the time to catch up on the time. I can't think of the word, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. It's a filler song basically just with Harold singing about how he likes Lashana. And don't get me wrong, he has a good voice and all, but I just feel like this song was just so pointless. And although Harold and Lashana are some of my favorite characters, Lashana ain't in it at all besides a few little scenes, and Harold's just there singing about it along with the boy group, band, whatever you want to call it, and Cody ain't even there because guess what, he's still in the race. Or he's still in the show. I just think my main problem with the song is I feel like it takes up way too much time. It feels so long, and the lyrics are so boring. I would not remember these lyrics at all whatsoever. It's just such a pointless, boring love song, and there's a lot of better love songs that we got in this season. Baby is just a very boring song to listen to, and I skip it every time I rewatch World Tour. And yes, I am glad that the Aftermath show did have songs in them, which made it a lot more interesting than the original Aftermath show from Action. But songs like this just drag on forever. I don't know. It's just not for me. It's easily my least favorite. Let's move on to number 30, which is I'm Sorry. Wow, look at that. Another Aftermath song. And it's the same frickin' episode as the one that Harold was singing. This time, it's Bridget singing about how she's sorry to Jeff. And while the song is sweet and all, it just goes on and on about the same verse, I am sorry. Well, gee, yes, I know, you are sorry. And of course, Jeff takes a little while to actually accept Bridget's apology. And, I don't know, yet again, just another song that's not for me, which felt like filler just because it was so long, and it just ain't catchy at all either. Yet again, another song that I'm not going to remember the lyrics of. Oh wait, I am. Just because all the lyrics say is, I'm sorry. Okay, good for you. I'm glad you're sorry, but why make a boring song about it? Yet again, Bridget and Jeff are some of my favorite characters and one of my favorite relationships, but this song just goes on forever and it's easily my second least favorite. Number 29, please. And I guess that one would go to A Chinese Lesson. Yes, there's apparently songs that are worse than this song. Like I said, Baby and I'm Sorry just aren't for me. But A Chinese Lesson is a pretty hated song by many. And I mean, calling it a song is a very odd thing to call it. It's not really a song, it's just more of a jingle that plays. This is the one out of two songs that Chris actually ends up singing, along with other characters like Heather, Alejandro, Courtney, etc. Basically the people who are still in the game once Owen got eliminated. And while the song isn't bad or anything, the jingle's catchy and all, but that's the thing. It's a jingle. It's not even a song. So calling this a song is being very nice to it. It's not bad. It's just more of a meh type of song, and it just doesn't really work. Just because, there's no song. It's just a little jingle. And the only reason why it's better than Baby and I'm Sorry is because it wasn't as frickin' long, and at least it was somewhat catchy. Other than that, definitely one of the weaker songs in World Tour. Now let's move on to 28, which is Versus. Man, such a weak finale song to the best season of all time. Why did they have to end it off with Versus? It's just such a weak, pointless song. Remember the song prior to this, I'm Gonna Make It? That is such a powerful, just awesome, catchy beat. But Versus ain't catchy, and it ain't powerful either. It's just Heather and Alejandro just getting mad at each other. I mean, yeah, the art style is nice and all, and I do kind of like seeing Heather versus Alejandro and stuff, but man, this song is not catchy at all whatsoever. It's very weak, and yeah, I cannot follow the song at all. Heck, I'd almost call this one the worst. The only reason why it's better than the other ones we talked about is because it's Heather and Alejandro, two of my favorite characters in the show, and probably my favorite relationship in the show too. So seeing them two versing each other in a song is kind of funny. But we already kind of had that in other songs like This Is Not How We'll End It and obviously I'm Gonna Make It. Two much better songs, by the way. So this one really disappoints as a weak finale song. I'm done talking about it. Let's move on to number 26, which is Blainerific. And now we have a lot of people's only gripe with this season, Blainely. While I personally don't hate her like others do, she is definitely one of the more weaker total drama characters, and of course she ended up having a pretty weak song to go along with it. Kind of like Versus, prior to Blainerific, we had such a funny, catchy Her Real Name Isn't Blainely song, but all of a sudden now we have this mess? Huh? I'm confused. And yeah, while it was kind of nice seeing a lot of the cast that was still in it at this time sing a lot of the song, especially the part with Heather and Courtney singing and stuff, and even the part with Chris randomly too. But man, the beat just doesn't work, and the lyrics are just so all over the place. Yet again, definitely a more weaker song in total drama. It is better than Versus, and I'd put this at more of a D tier ranking. Before this, everything was an F, but I'd put this maybe more of a D. It's still pretty bad, but at least it isn't terrible. And I think we should move on to the next one, which is Sea Shanty Mix. Okay, this is where the dislikes are going to start coming in. Let me explain why Sea Shanty isn't my favorite. The freaking beat. It's just so happy and just, I don't know, it just doesn't really fit. And although I do like the lyrics, because they are catchy and I can follow along, like the whole Heather and DJ scene, for an example. The infinite, no you can't catch me with the sea shanty thing, obviously, always gets stuck to my head. I just don't like the beat, like, at all. I take Blainerific over this beat, and that's saying a lot. And while we did get to see a lot of the characters sing, it was just, in my opinion, I guess it wasn't terribly boring or anything, but the beat is what really, really just ruined it. I'm sorry. Well, I guess it ain't really the, like it's happy or anything. I just don't really like the pirate shippy type of songs anyway. And no, that doesn't mean I hate the Pirates of the Caribbean song. But Sea Shanty just feels kind of just meh, in my opinion. So I guess we should move on to number 24, which is Shear the Sheep. We've reached what I consider probably the most cringiest song out of them all. And yeah, it definitely shows. We just randomly get characters like Heather and Courtney just start playing a band for sheep, and Gwen and Cody as well. It just feels really odd and just kind of, last minute thought type of thing. Also, why the heck did Cody not sing either? Didn't Chris clearly say if you don't sing, you're out? Like how strict it was with DJ in Sea Shanty Mix, but in Shear the Sheep, if Cody doesn't sing, that's fine and all. And there's a lot of songs like that too, and this is only one of the many ones that Cody does not sing in. Just look at it. Now that I look at it, I can see what people mean by Cody doesn't sing a lot of the songs. The only reason why Sheer Sheep is better than Sea Shanty Mix is because the beat is at least catchy at this. At least the beat is catchy, and the "we are shearing sheep" thing is somewhat catchy. The lyrics are probably better in Sea Shanty Mix, but at least I like the beat better, which that definitely, at least we have a neutral both rather than just a good one thing and a terrible other thing. But yeah, I definitely consider this one of the most cringiest songs ever. The Heather versus Courtney thing is kind of funny, but it's done a lot better in other songs. And yeah, nothing else I have to say. It's definitely one of the weaker songs yet again. It's decent at best and bad at worst. Alright, I'm tired of this. Let's move on. Boyfriend Kisser. Not gonna lie, I really hated this song when I first watched World Tour, and I semi-warmed up to it a little more. More enough to put it over Shear the Sheep. But that's just because it ain't as cringy as that song is. So in this song, we have Courtney and Heather, for the most part, singing about how Gwen is this boyfriend kisser. And yes, this is a song dedicated to that stupid love triangle we got this season. And yeah, the visuals are pretty nice and all, but I don't know. I just don't know how I really feel about this song. On one hand, it's kind of nice seeing Gwen get what she deserves. On the other hand, it's a little too much to see she literally being all by herself with no friends. Well, besides Cody, of course, but, I mean, for some reason he wasn't singing in this song either, so, okay. At least the beat is more catchier than Shear the Sheep, and definitely Sea Shanty Mix, and the lyrics are decent. I don't remember all the lyrics, of course, but stuff like, "You're the nasty, gothy, nasty blister," or something like that. And of course, whenever someone says boyfriend kisser, I mean, that's the title of the song anyway. Yet again, if this was on a tier list, this would still be around the D tier, but at least we're getting into the stuff I can tolerate, and this one definitely, I think, starts that. Now I need to remember what number this one is. 23, so now let's move on to number 22, which is Who You Gonna Root For? You see, this is a better Bridget and Jeff song. A lot better than stuff like I'm Sorry. This one is actually kind of catchy, and I can remember the lyrics like, of course, the beginnings, who you gonna root for, who's gonna be Heather, Alejandro, or Cody. So, some sections of this song actually ain't half bad, and I could consider this the first song that enters the C tier. Not quite neutral yet, still below average, but at least we're getting there. We do have some random scenes with Harold and Courtney jumping in to sing the song, which is kind of funny and all. Gives it a little more charm than just the boring Hawaiian theme. Also, kind of like Sea Shanty, I like the lyrics a lot, but the beat is just kind of more boring. And I don't know, it ain't my favorite. At least it's more tolerable than that one in my opinion. And like I said, it's definitely a better Aftermath song. Now let's move on to number 21, which is Save This Show. Yet again, a better Aftermath show starring Jeff and Bridget. Well, a better Aftermath song, I should say, starring Jeff and Bridget. And Save This Show actually isn't too bad. I think it's a little better than Who You Gonna Root For, mainly just the beat alone. It kind of has this sad tune to it, but it's catchy and not terrible. Plus the lyrics are pretty good too. I don't quite remember all of them, but you got some funny Jeff moments in here and stuff, and overall, it's definitely a better song. And there's nothing else I really have to say about it. Like I said, when we get into like the neutral territory, there's just nothing much besides it's okay, it has some problems, but then like, it ain't bad either. So yeah, Save This Show. Pretty okay. Now let's move on to number 20, which is This Is Not How We Will End It. Look at that, we have another song starring some of my favorite characters, Heather and Alejandro. My favorite couple, at least. This one ain't bad. It's a lot more catchier than something dumb like Versus. But it ain't quite my favorite either. Back when I first heard it, it definitely wasn't my favorite. I slowly grown to like it a little more. But it ain't awesome, but I don't mind it. It's simple. Alejandro sings to Heather about the different strategies and stuff that he's done throughout the season. But Heather convinces him to help him out of this hole with a rock wedged between the hole and her, I guess, which convinces Alejandro and ends up saving Heather, which is a really cool scene and all. The song isn't really my favorite, though. The beat is pretty simple and boring, but at least the lyrics are pretty interesting. I get my head bopping every time Alejandro says, "This is not how we'll end this." And it's, yet again, it's not my favorite or anything, but at least it's better than the other dumb one we got a few episodes later. Nothing else I have to say. Yet again, just an okay song. Now let's move on to number 19, which is Stuck to a Pole. I think I'm calling this one the Neutral Zone. Probably the most neutral song out of them all. There's some things I really like about this song, other things I just can't stand. It's a good Bridget song and all, but I just feel like it goes on forever, in my opinion. Not as long as stuff like Baby and I'm Sorry, but it does get annoying. This is one of the first times we saw the girls' backup group as well, featuring Heather, Courtney, and Gwen, which later turns to Sierra once Gwen gets eliminated. And, I mean, it's a good start, I guess. The beat is pretty good. I think I like the beat better than the lyrics. The lyrics are just okay. And overall, this is probably the most neutral song out of them all. So now, of course, after this song, that means stuff is above neutral, above average. And let's get to that now with number 18, which is the rap song. And no, I'm not going to say what comes before that. I've seen many YouTubers rank these songs and not mention the name before the rap. So I'm not going to say it. But we'll just call it the rap song. It's a song where Gwen, Heather, Courtney, Sierra, and Cody all sing a song. And I think the main reason why I like this song so much better than others is just the beat itself. It's kind of catchy, and I like the random rap scene with Gwen as well. And it's definitely a really short song. But you know what? It's a good one, and I enjoyed it. A lot more than other people did. Nothing else I have to say. It's a pretty good song. Now let's move on to number 17, which is Condor. Yet again, another song I've grown to like a lot. Condor used to be, yet again, one of the more weaker songs, but I really ended up enjoying it a lot more. It stars Alejandro, Cody, Heather, and Sierra singing about this condor while trying to bring back their eggs. And it's a catchy time. There's a lot of lyrics I remember, like any of the ones Alejandro sings or Cody sings, which, wow, Cody actually sings. Sierra's the one I probably forget the most. I remember Heather's as well. I mean, it's just such a goofy song, and it's a lot better than This Is How We Will End It. Lyrics and beat. Overall, another good total drama song. So let's move on to number 16, which is Aline Colleen. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. This is an actual song, the beat at least is, and having it in Total Drama actually works really well. It's so fun seeing the cast from Total Drama sing to this beat, and they have to be quiet so they don't disturb the mountaintops. Basically, all the cast sings except for Harold, Bridget, and Ezekiel, and that's because they're all out. But we got basically most of the cast here singing the song, and it's really funny too, from Owen and Noah to Heather and Courtney and Gwen, and of course the best part easily is the Tyler and Lindsay part, where Lindsay finally knows who Tyler is. So Tyler shouts with joy, and then of course he's the one who ends up making the mountain, I don't know what you want to call it, being the loud one, I guess is what I'll call it. This could almost be considered a jingle, but not really. Well, and even if it is, it's a lot better than stuff like A Chinese Lesson. So yeah, let's move on to number 15, which is The Greek Mix. Oh goody, another love triangle song. And of course it has to star one of the worst relationships in the show, Duncan and Gwen. Also the fact the song does feel a little long at times, but man, I really love the beat. You gotta love the Greeky, I guess, type of beat to this. I don't know what you call it. When the tune starts getting faster, that's when I really start enjoying it. Even if I don't really remember the stuff that Duncan and Gwen are singing. At least the beat is really catchy, which is why it puts it above all these other songs. I would rather have a catchier beat than lyrics I can remember. So yeah, it's a pretty good song. Now let's move on to number 14, which is Before We Die. Man, what a catchy, unexpected song. And unlike other unexpected songs like Shear the Sheep, this one actually felt, well placed and good. Also, the fact that most of the cast sings here, and they deliver one heck of a good song. I'm sure stuff like Stuff We Wanna Do Before We Die, or whatever, lyrics get stuck in your head all the time. I know it does for me. Also, the fact that this is one of the earlier songs in the show, so basically most of the cast is still here, so we get to see all of them sing. And it gets really silly too. Overall, it's a really catchy one. It's one of those songs that kind of gets me in the mood for Total Drama World Tour. The best season ever. Now let's move on to number 13, which is I'm Winning This. That's funny. From one of the first songs to one of the last songs, this is another one of those Aftermath show songs, and it's definitely a much better one than the other ones we've already talked about. Basically, Harold, Courtney, and Blanley are going to be doing a challenge, but of course, because Blanley is, I guess, very injured, she gets help from Owen. And of course, the people who hate Blanley, I'm sure, probably love this song because it gets a lot of Blanley torture. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it too, after everything she's done. Like I said before, though, in ranking all Total Drama characters, I don't hate Blanley. She's annoying, yes, but I don't hate her like I do other people. But I guess seeing her what she gets is pretty cool. Okay, I'm getting way too off topic here. So they have a pretty good, fairly good beat with pretty catchy lyrics too. The I'm Winning This. I like seeing Courtney versus Harold scenes. It's pretty funny. And of course, Blanley and Owen just randomly being there too is just so funny to see. And it makes for a pretty good song. And not much else I really have to say, but I like it. Let's move on to number 12, which is Changing Guard Mix. What a pretty catchy song. I actually kind of like this one a lot, actually. Also, by the way, if you're wondering, yeah, we're out of the C tier. We're into these are B tier songs, almost A probably, actually. I think this one's still kind of a B tier though, just because the beat isn't really my favorite, but it's good and all. And the lyrics are really good too. I like anything with Noah and Owen randomly singing, or any of the girls. It's just so funny. Does Cody sing this one? Nope. But I still like the song. It's overall just a goofy song, and yet again, it's a good one. Let's move on to number 11, which is Come Fly With Us. Man, such a good song, and what a perfect way to introduce the best Total Drama season of all time, with the whole cast singing about this brand new season. You gotta love the random scenes it has too, like the Izzy scene or the Heather scene, and of course the Ezekiel scene. So any Ezekiel fans out there, the one or two people out there, you got an Ezekiel scene, and not gonna lie, it was actually pretty good, and it makes for one heck of a catchy pilot song, and it's just it's so good. I don't know what else you want me to say. It is a great song and a good introduction to what an awesome season. Anytime I see this episode, it just makes me get excited for Total Drama World Tour again. It makes me want to see the whole show again, or the whole season, I mean. And man, I really wanted it in the top 10. It's such a good song, but it just ain't quite top 10, but it's so close. There's 10 more songs that are better than this one. So let's get to number 10, which is Lovin' Time. Man, talk about songs that I grew to love. And Lovin' Time is one of them. I used to think this song was pretty pointless, a really below average, boring, sleepy song, but I really actually grew to like Loving Time and even Ruin Time, which we'll talk about later. I like the random scenes with Owen saying we're mostly full of gas, and then the bugs or whatever crawl on him, and the random Ezekiel part is kind of funny too. Plus, Come Fly With Us, we get a lot of the cast singing, which is really good. And it's actually kind of catchy, and I love the blues type of song that they have to this. I don't 100% remember the lyrics or anything, but I definitely do remember it. And the beat is really good as well. And there's another song very similar to this one, which is number 9, and of course that is Rowan Time. It's kind of like Lovin' Time, but the beat is a lot faster now, and it actually makes the song better, which is kind of funny. Well, I guess it's because I just like the faster style songs anyway. So, Rowan Time having the Loving Time beat, but just faster, just makes it all the better. Now, yeah, I don't remember the music or the lyrics as much. I mean, in Rowan Time, but I mean the whole thing with it just being a lot faster to what was already a good song just made it all the better. Yet again, this was just another song I thought was super unnecessary at first, but I really liked it. Overall, it's a good song, and like I said, I really like it. So, yeah, now let's move on to number 8, which is Sisters. Man, what a hilarious song, featuring, yet again, one of my favorite characters, Lashana. And unlike something stupid like Baby, which isn't catchy at all in the slightest, Sisters is such a catchy beat, and I like the lyrics too, it's just so funny. Basically, it's just about Lashana talking about her experience on the show with Alejandro. And of course, Bridget and Harold joined Lashana in a dance, which is super hilariously funny to see all three of them just go buck wild and start dancing. It's just one of those songs that it's just so good. And even though it's super short, man, it was just so random, but so awesome. And it's one of my favorites for sure. Obviously, these are all like the A tiers, and we're very soon getting into the S tiers, and that is coming up very soon. This one I really wanted to put in S, but not quite. Very close though. This is like an A+. Anyway, let's move on to number, I believe, 7, which is Oh My Izzy. This is another song I really grew to love. I don't know what it is with me. I'm just not really the type of person who likes the slower type of songs, but Oh My Izzy is done so well, it completely makes me forget that. One of the characters who went through a pretty big and actually good character development was Owen. In his first season, he was fairly basic and just the farty, annoying type of dude, but as action and definitely World Tour started, he became a much more likable character, and I actually really liked seeing him in this season, and of course you can't forget Redonkulous Race. However, he wanted to break up with Izzy, but I guess Izzy had some sort of head condition which made her super smart, which made her break up with Owen? Something like that. And so Owen's kind of sad that that all just happened. So then he ends up singing a song to Gwen about Izzy. And it's nice seeing Gwen being really supportive and not trying to, like, steal Owen then. Which, I guess, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Basically, Gwen was being nice about it, which I guess is in character. And the song that Owen comes up with is so funny. I just like hearing the "Oh My Izzy" stuff. It's just so goofy. And I love seeing the inner blah 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 of Owen's mind, where it's just all Izzy just being her crazy self. The beat is actually fairly catchy, and the lyrics are really good too. Like I said, this is a song I really grew to love. Before, definitely more of a more average, maybe even below average song. Now, top 10 favorite songs of all time. Also, for someone who loves Owen and Izzy's relationship, it's just such a good song, and I really enjoy it. Not my favorite, but it's definitely a good treat. Now let's move on to number 6, which is Paris in the Springtime. Man, another just goofy, silly, catchy song. This time we get Sierra singing to us about how you should never trust a boy, and that he will treat you like a toy. And explaining the facts of how Cody broke her heart by voting for her to be voted off the show. Or to be, I guess, booted off the show, if you want to call it that. So, of course, this whole episode we see Sierra not really happy about that whole situation. Which I guess is kind of understandable. Actually, wait. Sierra's the crazy lady, never mind. But, I don't know, the whole thing is just so funny. And then Sierra just going like, my friends, we will never trust a boy. You should never trust a boy. And it's just so catchy, and I just randomly find myself singing the song from here to there. From anywhere. I can't talk. And you gotta love the random moments in the song too, like when Chef is just randomly dancing, or the Owen and Noah part. Ugh, those scenes are just random, yet so funny. And the beat is really funny. Not funny, but the beat is really good too. Like, it's something that I can bump my head to and like dance to. It's just such a good song. And the visuals are really good too. It's funny seeing Sierra in all these pictures, which really reminds me of that SpongeBob episode, Atlantis SquarePantis, where Squidward is also singing a song in a bunch of paintings. Except that song is a lot worse, not gonna lie. Overall, this is definitely one of my favorite Total Drama World Tour songs. Not quite top 5, but definitely up there. Speaking of which, I guess we should move on to number 5, which is Wake Up. And yes, the cast here is trying to wake up. Duncan, Alejandro, Sierra, and Heather have accidentally shot themselves with sleepy darts or whatever, so now they all have to try to wake up, which is super funny to watch. And while they're all doing that, they sing this really catchy song as well, and we get some more Heather versus Alejandro scenes too in it, which is so random yet so funny, and I'm glad that, I don't know. And they all end this song with a wake up as long as they possibly can go, and it's just, I don't know, it's just such a catchy song. And again, another one of those ones I just randomly find myself singing to. Maybe not as much as Paris in the Springtime, but I don't know, I like this one a lot. It ain't my favorite, but it's a good one. It ain't the longest either. Paris in the Springtime is a lot longer, but this one was a nice catchy little short song. And it's definitely deserving of top 5. Now let's move on to number 4, which is What's Not to Love. Man, you gotta get another just catchy tune. And this one is another one of those ones that are pretty, like, in the beginning of the show, which, yet again, we have a lot of the cast singing to it. And yet again, they do a really good job with the visuals in this one. It's just, I don't know, it's good, I like it. I like all the random things we get in this song, like DJ and Lashana just dancing, and Lindsay going to the store. Wait, no, that's not how it worked. Lindsay was talking about the fashion, or singing about the fashion, I mean. And of course, anytime Courtney sings too, because she has one heck of a good voice when it comes to singing. Well, they all do, but I mean, I think Courtney just kind of stands out, in my opinion. And overall, it's just such a catchy beat. And yeah, it's another one of those ones where Cody doesn't sing because he chickens out and Chris lets him get away with it. But I don't care. This one is just so catchy, and it's easily one of my favorites. Now let's move on to number 3, which is Her Real Name Isn't Blaney. Well, if it ain't Blaney, then what is it? Oh, Mildred. That's who Jeff says it is. Man, what a much better song compared to the one afterwards, aka Blainerific. This one has a really catchy song played by the Band Boys. I don't know what their names are. I just call them the Band Boys. Well, a.k.a. Justin, Trent, and Harold, plus a gorilla filling in for Cody. It's such a goofy song with Jeff singing to everyone on all of the negatives about Blaney. And Blaney's just kind of there like, okay, this is happening. And the way Jeff moves around and does everything is just so hilarious. Like, this dude, like I said, one of my favorite characters of the show, and he's just so goofy running around pretending to be like Blaney and stuff, and showing everyone how terrible Blaney is, with a really catchy beat in the background, and it's just so good. It's yet another one of those unexpected, goofy songs, and I feel like it's a little better than Sisters. Sisters was definitely a really good one too, but this one is like definitely an S tier. Because, I mean, we're in the top 3 now. These are all S-tier songs. Now let's move on to number 2, which is We Built Gwen's Face. This one is really good. And I love seeing the whole cast singing this song. Well, everyone who's still in it. Basically, once Gwen gets eliminated, I mean, after her, the cast who's still in it. Well, everyone except, you guessed it, Cody sings the song. The beat is really catchy, the lyrics are so memorable, it's just such a good song. You gotta love, too, how the 3 girls dress as warm colors, and the 3 boys dress as cooler colors. Purple, blue, and green, for example, and the girls are orange, yellow, and red. Which is kind of funny, and I didn't notice that until I think I was reading comments and noticed it. It's just such a catchy song, and I guess it's a resemblance of Dancing Queen from ABBA, which is a good song. But if you put the Dancing Queen beat into We Built Gwen's Face, it sounds really similar. And man, I just love the I don't know. I just love this song so much. I don't know. Sometimes I just randomly start saying "We Built Gwen's Face," or I don't know. The music is really catchy too. The beat, I mean. But it isn't quite my favorite. My favorite song from Total Drama World Tour is "I'm Gonna Make It." Man, what an awesome song! The beat this time follows the song "Life is a Highway," which, yet again, like We Built Gwen's Face, put "Life is a Highway's" beat into this song, and you won't notice the difference. It's another one of those Heather versus Alejandro type of songs, and man, you gotta love any time they try to do that. And honestly, they should have just ended with this song, and not that terrible Versus song, because that one wasn't catchy whatsoever. This one was so catchy, and I love the visuals too, with both of them just riding on the train and also fighting each other at the same time. And yes, this is one of the songs that Cody actually sings, and Sierra because, why the heck not? And the whole "I'm gonna make it" theme is just so catchy, and it gets stuck in my head so many times. And I can easily consider this my favorite song from Total Drama World Tour. Man, oh man, that was a long list to get through, but it was fun looking back on my favorite Total Drama season. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.